Anyway, so Clownfish put this one out. Yes, the good Batman. Clownfish put this one out where a Gen Z worker tells boss that they don't want to work, and apparently this is going viral for some reason, which makes me wonder, is this more of a widespread thing? So, let's see what's going on here, shall we?
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky.
Okay, chat, we know the rules. When Geeky is on screen, I do not cover the Geeky. The Geeky shall be freed. And B4D, thank you for the follow.
Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to use Gen Z as a punching bag again.
Yeah, I want to make it clear before we start this video, we are not talking about all Gen Z. I know there's a lot of Gen Z people who do not behave this way, our kids included. But there also are enough that do, that it's creating a problem for all Gen Z because they're all getting labeled by...
What have I said about stereotypes, chat? Stereotypes exist because when enough of a certain group of said thing behaves, talks like, thinks like the same fucking way, that is how the stereotype gets formed. So there's a reason why there's a stereotype for Gen Z, which I think we are about to see.
The behavior of the other ones that do behave this way.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about this. This is making the rounds. This is a post from Reddit that says the corporate world is not ready for Gen Z. Even made the New York Post. It said it was embarrassingly unprofessional behavior from an intern basically deciding they were going to take off that day because they just felt like it.
Yeah, they don't even ask. They just inform.
They just said, yeah, we need a mental health day or whatever. And look, we've dealt with millennials that we've had similar issues with, so it's not just a Gen Z thing.
Well, they were later millennials, so they were close to Gen Z, but yes.
And that's and to Viki's point, that's what I've said. Is whenever something, somebody says, well, millennials have done this too, whenever there's a criticism regarding widespread Gen Z shit, and people go, well, millennials did this too. Okay, fair point, but it was the late stage millennials. It is the millennials on the younger side that are close to the border of the Gen Z generation. So that is one thing that, to Gigi's point, I've said the exact same thing. Is, I will usually say, like, this is such Gen Z behavior, and maybe, one of you guys, someone will say, well, millennials do this too. Yeah, it's the millennials on the latter part of the millennial spectrum. They're much closer to Gen Z than they are to the central or older versions of the millennials. Those are more in line with, say, the Gen Xers than the Gen Zs.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So the New York Post had it. This is where I found it.
Okay.
It was a couple days ago. They said, embarrassingly unprofessional Gen Z intern sparks debate over bizarre time off request. My energy feels a bit off.
Okay, welcome to what it's like for everybody most days.
Yeah.
So Zoomers have become, according to the New York Post, Zoomers have become notorious for seemingly committing myriad workplace faux pas, from picking up the phone, sans speaking, to dressing like slobs at the office. Now,
wait, picking up the phone, sans speaking. What the fuck does that mean? Do Zoomers, like, literally, not all Zoomers, they literally just pick up the phone and just sit there holding it to their ear and don't say a fucking word? Like, they don't even say hello? Is that seriously a fucking thing? Okay, Apple Juice, have a good night. That is seriously a thing that Zoomers do. They pick up the phone and don't say a word. I mind boggle at this. If this is what happens, they almost never talk. Oh, because they're so fucking used to texting, they don't know how to talk on a phone? I just, oh, my brain's already starting to hurt. We gotta keep going. My brain's already starting to hurt.
A young clock puncher is dividing people online after telling the boss they were taking a vacay because their energy fell off per a viral Reddit post by said employer.
Oh, no.
So the supervisor
God.
has 3 Gen Z interns at a startup. They shared a screenshot of an actual email they received from one of the underlings on apparently short notice. So here it is. Going on a trip. Hi, blank. Feeling a bit overwhelmed with all the work, and my energy feels a little off, so not getting that vibe right now. I'll be out from the 28th of July to the 30th of July. Please don't miss me. Here's my train PNR and attaching the Goy Bibo booking slip for reference. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Okay, I have a question. And maybe this will be answered in the video. How do we know this is real? How do we know that this is real? Because let's be honest, people will make shit up like this just to spark drama and get a lot of clicks, and it's on Reddit, for fuck's sake. See, that's the thing, Reaper. Just because it's believable doesn't mean it's true. That's the whole thing of where, like, okay, it's kind of like you flip it to the opposite, where you know something is fake, but the scary part is you could believe it's actually real. This one looks like it's believably real, as being presented as believably real, but because of that, I am finding myself asking, is this real? It almost feels too much. It almost feels like it's too much, which is why I'm questioning whether or not this is a real email sent to a boss. But we'll find out. Maybe we'll see.
Wait.
Yeah, I'd be like, bye.
Do that. But well, intern would imply too that you're doing it for school, and that's not going to help you finish your internship. I'm just saying.
Oh boy.
This is and unfortunately, this kind of behavior, which is happening a little more often than it should, it's happening often enough that Gen Z are getting labeled across the board, and of course, they're painting everyone with a broad brush. But it is happening a significant amount of time. But that is not indicative of everyone, because there's 2 other Gen Z interns who did not behave that way. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, there are some Gen Z that really bust their ass on things,
it's not fair to say that all Gen Z are like this, because that's not fair.
So here's a millennial, and we'll talk about that too.
Well, Seb, it's not that they didn't make a day off request. They basically said, I'm not that in this, my energy feels a little off, so not getting that vibe right now. I'm going to be out. It was not a request. They basically said, I'm not coming in the 28th through the 30th because the vibe is off. This was not a request for time off. This was just, I'm not going to be into work. Go fuck yourself if you have a problem. Honestly, Revan, no, this sounds like it could be a male intern too. Realistically, this could be a male intern too. Does the email also say they're sending the forms? Oh, well, it says, here's my train PNR, whatever that is, and the Goy Bibo booking slip for reference, which I don't know what a Goy Bibo booking is. So yeah, but said, even if they have vacation days, this is coming from someone who is working now, and if I ever want vacation, I need to request vacation. You don't request vacation by emailing your boss and saying, yeah, my energy feels off and I'm not feeling the vibe, so I'm going to be out of work. You request your vacation. You don't just simply demand it. And this is not like this is an emergency, something has come up. that is unavoidable. I have to be out because like family emergency, medical emergency, whatever. Go ahead and burn my vacation for this. I'm sorry, but I have to be out. This is just, I'm not feeling the vibe. Zed, that could be possible. The fact that you're used to people skipping out of work like that is honestly, it is honestly very disheartening that you're actually used to it, honestly.
Z interns who did not behave that way. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, there are some Gen Z that really bust their ass on things, and
it's not fair to say that all Gen Z are like this, because that's not fair.
So here's a millennial, and we'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
It's about time some blowback happens, trained under old school boomers, and ugh, if I hear about getting ahead by being consistent and working hard ever again. Well, I'm almost 40 and I own nothing. Worked hard and consistently at top quality my whole life, but homes are starting at 1.5 million.
Where do you live?
And I made the
California. Guarantee you this person lives in California.
Mistake of being born without money or much family. I'm finally looking to getting my first home in a year or two, but it really shouldn't have been this hard. The job market sucks and will continue to suck. 1.5 million starting for what?
A couple things here. A lot of people who are even older people, like Gen Z and stuff, or Gen X and stuff, they can't afford houses either. And then we had articles about Gen Z making all that money because they were hustling and doing several jobs.
Yeah.
Using AI, but they were doing several jobs. So it's a mixed bag. But also you're 40 years old and you're like blaming everybody else, and you're like, well, I finally got a house.
Oh, and by the way, it says worked hard and consistently at top quality my whole life. What job were they working at? It's very fucking easy to say, I worked my ass off my whole life and I didn't get shit. What's your job? Because certain jobs have a ceiling. Okay? And by the way, I'm almost 40 now. When did you start this job? This person, there's a whole bunch of red flags in this statement. Trained under old school boomers, okay, and, well, I'm almost 40 now. Cool. How old were you when you started the job? Were you 35 when you started this job? That's not an unusual age to be starting a new job. You 30. Okay, so you worked 10 years. And what is the job in question? So there's a whole bunch of unspoken right here that's not clicking. That is getting the antenna up going, something here feels bullshit.
Good. I'm glad to hear that you're getting a house. But the job market sucks. Yes, but it sucks for everyone, not just you. That's what I get tired of. It's generally, and it's mostly millennials. No offense to millennials, but they're mostly whining about, well, everything sucks and it's everybody else's fault. It's not my fault. And it's like, well, a lot of Gen X people were right before millennials and it was sucky for them too. And
it's
they
not
got
just
by. A you problem. Houses are too expensive for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Jobs are not there for a lot of people.
They're talking now about the housing market, and they said that real estate now.
In Ariston, yes, but also you can work at a job and have zero upward movement for 20 fucking years. Okay, one of the last the last job I had before the one I currently work at now, there were actually 2 individuals that I worked with. Older individuals. I want to say they were in their 60s. I believe. I could be mistaken about that. But they were older individuals. Probably the latter half of the boomer generation. And they had worked at the same job that I was. Doing the same job that I was doing, which is nothing special. It's just like ground floor, ground level stuff. Doing the same job I was doing for something like 20 years. They did not get into management. They were still basically just a frontline worker, and they'd been doing that job, it was like something like 15 to 20 years. So it's entirely possible that, working in a job for many, many years does not guarantee you're going to go up the ladder in terms of management. There's zero guarantee of that.
Good luck finding anybody under 50 that's able to buy a house.
Yeah, it's not just you. And then even the ones
That's
that
not
did buy a
cheap.
house, and the boomers,
I
you say,
don't know, honestly.
they're running into
I
problems
think
where
they didn't get
they don't
offered.
have that much retirement, and they're end
Yeah.
up going back to work. Our kids went to an opening of a restaurant today, and they said there was a lady working there, and she was a lot older, but she was trying because she needed the money.
Go to Walmart, go to a grocery store. You're going to find older people working there.
McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
McDonald's, especially. I mean, it sucks. I mean,
but they have to because they can't afford it, or one of their spouse dies and they only get half the money and stuff. So it's not just you.
But this isn't going to help. Having the attitude that like, hey, this is too hard. I'm just going to nope out for a couple days.
No, back to that. Yes.
Like what do you expect is going to happen? So here's the thing. Like, I understand working for shitty employers. I've worked for several shitty employers. I get it. But if your mindset is I'm going to half-ass it and nope out when it gets too tough, that just shows kind of your attitude toward life in general. And it's not going to be any better for you if you become self-employed. It's
also going to result in you basically losing that job and not getting any kind of a good recommendation. And if you're an intern, that means you're doing that job for school, and that internship is a part of you getting your degree. Guarantee you that employer is going to contact the school and say, yeah, this person did this and I had to fire them. And thus they're not going to be getting their degree because they didn't complete their internship.
Much harder to be self-employed. So you can think like, oh, I'll just blow them off because I'm going to go start my own company or whatever. It's like, if you don't have the discipline.
It's true. It's not limited to schools. Oh, hello, Ghost Outcast. Welcome in, Raiders. How are you? How's it going? You caught us right in the middle of a video. How was your stream? Did you guys have a good stream? Did you have a good time? You caught us in the middle of a video about Gen Z interns that just say, I'm not feeling, my energy is off and I'm not feeling the vibe, so I'm fucking off for a couple days, deal with it. Please feel free to stay and join us if you want to in watching this shit show.
To show up for work when you don't feel like it, you're going to be completely fucked if you try to do it on your own.
And I do see a tendency with the younger Gen Z and stuff to, I just don't feel like it today. Guys, you can't do that. But real quick, the guy 1.5 million, San Diego.
Well, yeah, and he keeps going, he or she keeps going about San Diego. And that's the thing too. Like a lot of people that are whining, especially the millennials, are like, I don't understand it, guys. I live in Manhattan and the rents are so high and I can't afford to live on 6 figures. And I'm like, then move out of Manhattan. Well, I can't do that.
Yeah, okay. Bearing in mind, I fully appreciate the fact that it's really fucking easy. If someone says, I can't afford to live here, it's like really fucking expensive. I can't get a house. It's really fucking easy for people to just go, well, fucking move. Why don't you just fucking move? Speaking from experience, when I moved, it isn't that easy. Okay? It is not that simple. When you're in a situation where things are becoming unaffordable, it is not as simple as just saying, well, fuck it. Why don't you just pick up and move? You have established yourself. Well, that was best man. That was an example. That was just a wild example he was giving. I don't think no one actually said that to Neon. But, when it comes to moving, it's very fucking complicated. Oh, I know, Ghost. I did that yesterday. You have roots where you are currently located. You have a job that may be tangential to where you're located. Of course, ghosts, have a wonderful night. You may have family nearby. You may have young ones that are in school, and moving might have to rip them out of school. You need to find yourself a new place to move to. That's a big part of it. People are like, well, just fucking move. Okay. Are you going to pay the bills while this person takes time off of work to find another apartment that's affordable that could potentially be a long distance away? You know, are you going to take care of are you going to work for them and make money for them while they have to facilitate packing everything up and facilitating the actual move if they by some means are able to find another place to live? Like, it is not that simple. I sympathize with people that are in situation where they're living somewhere that is unaffordable. And no, this is not simply California. This is literally fucking anywhere, any major populous area. This is what you're running into, and you were able to make it go over there at the beginning, but it's gotten worse. You can't afford anything. Cost of living is skyrocketed, and you're in a position where you want to move, but you can't. Even though you desperately want to, there's all these other factors that are preventing you from being able to move, despite the fact that you really fucking want to move. It is not as simple as people make it out to be. And I know this from personal fucking experience. It's not, and so, you know, people, you know, when you hear an individual saying like, oh my God, things are so fucking expensive, I can barely afford to work, you know, or I can barely afford to live, my job is terrible. Before you as the person hearing this just clap back with, we'll get another job, we'll just fucking move. It's not that simple. Job market sucks, so getting another job is next to impossible right now. You don't want to give up a paying job that you already have to try and find something different or something better, especially if it's in a different locale. When it comes to moving, you know, where you want to move to may be way outside of the distance that you want to go to, because your job is over here and your work is over here, and you could be going from, okay, you have a 10-minute drive to work to a fucking hour-and-a-half drive to work, which is not fucking tenable. And yes, Lyrical, that's the other thing. If you have pets, the place you're living at currently allows you to have pets. Trying to find a place that allows for pets is damn near fucking impossible. I know, because I've been keeping my eye out for a better place to move to, and trying to find somewhere that actually allows pets and is a decent place is a fucking chore. So it is not that simple. It's not like you see in the movies. It's not like you see on TV where someone just gets a wild hair up their ass, like, I'm going to move. And by some miracle, they have all the money they need to sustain themselves while they find this new place and while they facilitate the move. That's not how reality works. So just remember that whenever somebody's complaining about, you know, that they can't afford to live where they are, that where they're living is so expensive, before you clap back and say, why don't you just move somewhere that's cheaper? Think about all of what I was just saying. And just remember, this isn't Hollywood. It's nowhere near that simple.
Yeah, because I need to be in the city. I need to be all my city because my vibe. I know, and it's like, guys, you know, go. There's places
if it's because of your vibe, that's a whole different thing.
Well, but, people said Bay Area. Not to cut you off here, but like I lived in the Bay Area. This actually is true. My parents bought their one house in, I think it was, I want to say 1987. And they bought it for $185,000. Back then, that was actually a lot of money for a house.
That's like $500,000 now, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, now that house now is worth like $2 or $3 million.
Yeah,
just because of where it's at, because it's like 45
It had land too.
Had an acre, only an acre. Had like an acre of land, and it was 45 minutes outside of San Francisco. So you could, you know, my stepdad did that. He'd actually commute into the city. So that house is worth like $3 million now. And it's not anything great.
Wow.
I mean, it really isn't. But
no, it's not. It's not. It wasn't. But you know, yeah, it just depends on where you live. And but back to the situation at hand, which is the person that said they were just taking off for a vibe day, a mental health day.
Mental health day.
Well, this reminds me like
Yeah.
of back when it was Twitter, that one of the things that they were having problems with is people would just not show up for a month and get paid because they needed mental health time. And they would have been the millennials.
A month off for mental health time. Honestly, I wish I could bitch about this more, but this is a thing in Canada too. This actually is a legit thing in Canada too. It's called stress leave. You can actually take stress leave. You have to get it signed off by a doctor. No, I'm serious, Jack. Now you have to get this signed off by a doctor. So you actually have to go visit a doctor to talk to them and explain the situation. They can sign you off on stress leave. It is a thing. Now, bearing in mind, you have to work at a job for a certain amount of time before you can get this. And I'm pretty sure some of your taxes, what you pay into, if I'm remembering this correctly, some of what you pay into taxes goes to EI, which is employment insurance. And employment insurance is what's used for, like, if you need to take stress leave. But you do pay into it as a taxpayer. And again, you have to take steps. You have to basically go see a doctor, and a doctor will say, okay, I'll give you this much amount of time for stress leave, whatever that may be. And yes, you can get time off for stress leave if a doctor says it's okay.
Later millennials, and it's like there is definitely a mentality. They want work-life balance. And look, I get it. As somebody who's grown up without work-life balance, the person saying, I work really hard and you never get ahead and stuff. That's not untrue completely. And there's a lot of work-life balance. And now they're talking about going to even worse to combat AI. What did you say? It was 9 to 9, 6 days a week?
Yeah, we didn't cover that. We should maybe do a video on that one. They're talking that just to stand your ground against AI, you're going to have to work like Japanese hours, which are
no, it's Chinese. They said, but yeah,
Chinese hours, like 9 to 9, 6 days a week or something like that.
So what?
Yeah, actually, Japanese hours are even worse. Pretty sure, like with Japanese hours, you're working standard 8 hour plus you're working minimum 5 hours afterwards. Plus, you're required to actually go out with your coworkers. We've heard the stories about people like in Japanese work culture that literally will just walk outside the building that they're working, lay down on the street, and just pass the fuck out. They'll sleep on the streets and not even be able to get home because they're just so fucking exhausted. Or they'll pass the fuck out on the train or the bus ride home. I think it could be interchangeable in this case. Chinese, Japanese work hours, I think you could interchange them, honestly.
Ridiculous.
But this is giving all Gen Z a bad name because, one person did that. And don't do this. Real quick.
Hey, hold up. Now, see, I'm not doing 12-hour streams. I'm doing 5-hour streams. I'm just working 9.5 hours before that. There's a difference. I'd say there's a difference. Because technically speaking, I'm kind of doing, 14 hours. So, between work and streaming, asking for the future. No, I'm not doing 12-hour fucking streams 6 days a week. God, no. My brain would be fried after, like, fucking day one, I think, well, no, not necessarily. But no, I'm not doing 12-hour streams 6 days a week.
Because, one person did that. And don't do this. Real quick, I was going to mention the one person that it was 2 people we worked with. We did have this trouble before. We needed colorists for our comic, and we hired people that were really good. The problem was they both would be like, I can't work this week, even though you have pages due, because I've got a headache. And then they would in the time they would crank out all kinds of fan art that they then put up. I just drew this yesterday, and it's like, wait a minute.
Basically, they didn't want to work for us, even though we were paying, but they would work for upvotes for free. They would put artwork on social media for free.
Oh,
because what they wanted to do.
Really?
That's what they wanted to do. And we had paying work in the hopper, but they just would get to it when they would get to it.
We paid industry rate too. We weren't paying like, we'll give you $5. We were paying the going rate, actually a pretty good rate, and they just wouldn't do it. And then they turned around and used our name because they had an in with the company because you knew them. And then they got the people at the company,
and they got themselves more work with that company. I don't think they work for that company now, but like, I was pissed because I'm like, wait, you can't get our shit done, but you're gonna go wheel and deal with somebody I used to work with. Like, what the hell? We're actually paying more than they are now. Like we were, and we still were. Like last couple books we put out, we actually were paying, shockingly, paying on par with like a Dark Horse or something like that. So I'm like, if you can't do it for that, then you're not going to make it in this industry because they're going to pay you less probably, and it's going to take 6 months to get paid. Oh, that's the other thing too. They wanted paid within like 48 hours of turning a page in.
Something like that. Yeah.
I was like, nobody does that.
But this is what happens, and because of that behavior, we were very leery to hire help again, and that's what's happening when an intern.
Understandable. Okay, now what Neon and Geeky here are talking about, this is dialing back to the Gen Z mentality of, I just want to do work of what makes me happy. That's the stereotypical Gen Z thing that has come out, is that when you hire a Gen Zer, when you hire a Zoomer for work, they only want to do work on stuff that they want to do. They don't want to do work that is not of interest to them. And and Alex, that's part 2, is when I do the work, I want to get instant gratification. That's what being raised on fucking social media does. This is what happens when you raise an entire generation on social media. They become addicted to that immediate gratification. They don't understand that things have to cook. Like when you're working a job, you're going to work for 2 weeks and then get paid. You're not going to get paid immediately after doing your work. But again, this is what happens when an entire generation has been literally raised by social media. You fucked up the neurons. The neurons are making poor connections in their brain, and they are hooked on that immediate gratification dopamine hit. And if they're not getting it, their brain is telling them something's very wrong here. This isn't how it's supposed to go. And then they'll start stressing out. And then they're going to say, oh, the light's off. Oh, my energy. No, I don't want to do this anymore. My energy is completely off. No, I got to take 4 days off. Bye. Boom. And go. This is what happens. And because no one is actually forcing these individuals to live in reality and work like every other fucking normal person, working normal 40 hours a week, maybe plus, depending upon your job, and that you're getting paid every 2 weeks. No one's forcing them to do it, so it's only and they're getting away with, well, the vibe feels off. My energy isn't right, so I've got to take 3 days off. And because they're not getting spanked for that, you're only reinforcing that what they just did is perfectly acceptable. All of these Zoomers who are exhibiting this piss-poor work ethic, and they're not getting slapped for it, metaphorically speaking, is you're reinforcing the behavior. If they are allowed to get away with it, it's only being reinforced, and they think, oh, this is perfectly fine. I'm just going to keep doing this, and then they'll keep doing it because you as the employer did not reinforce that this is not how we do fucking business, and it's only going to make your life hell. They're not going to learn, and it's overall, you're going to have a bad time. We basically need to retrain the Zoomers, is what it boils down to. They've been received very piss poor social training up to the point of joining the workforce. Now it's unfortunately incumbent upon the workforce to retrain them and reorient their way of thinking. So they basically stop being so fucking selfish and stop worrying about the vibes, and they have low energy. That's what's got to be done. And if they don't like it, well, cool. There's the fucking door. Good luck out there. Maybe you'll get hired by someone else. Maybe you'll get hired by another company that will put up with that shit. It ain't gonna be mine. I'll actually bring someone in that'll actually do fucking work.
Here is submitting this and saying, "Oh, I'm just taking off. I'm not asking."
Well, that's a whole different
thing. They put in a request for like off time. They probably would have got it. They're just like letting you know, I'm demanding. I'm taking these days off just so you know. Bye.
Yeah.
Don't miss me.
Yep.
And I'm like, well.
A lot of people said in the comments, this come from Reddit. They're like, they're not ready for a full-time job. Like, no employer would hire this person.
I'm seeing people coming out of college that aren't, and it is what it is. Now, again, I want to reiterate, not all Gen Zs like this.
Well, Revan, I've heard similar theories that the way Jesus fuck. Oh, my brain is cooked. I've heard the theories that the way schools have been teaching the kids and sort of been fostering this level of mentality is purpose-built to make society easier to control, because we're basically breeding it. We're not breeding. We're training a generation of soft individuals that are far more easy to control. And thus the government can control them so much easier because they don't have the critical thinking skills. They're so weak-willed and emotionally weak. I've heard that theory. I'm not sure how much stock I want to put into its validity. But given what we see on a daily basis, the argument is very compelling. It is. We have a great deal of the schools. The students that are graduating are about 3 to 5 grades behind in reading comprehension. They have not been taught critical thinking skills. I honestly don't know how, but they've exhibited behaviors that indicate they may not fucking survive out in the real world. I'd love to just say discount your theory in its entirety, but I can't. There are threads of truth in that schools have been breeding an easily controllable populace by the government. I'm not going to 100% agree with it, but there's just too much. There's too many facts in there that coincide with that theory to be ignored.
And it is what it is. Now, again, I want to reiterate, not all Gen Zs like this, but I am seeing it coming out of colleges and stuff that they are just not ready at all. And so
these are the ones who are going to get replaced first by AI.
I know. And it's, and it's sad, but I don't know what else to tell you. Just, you're going to have to watch videos on how to be a good employee, I guess.
I know, Revan.
It is. Wrap this up.
Yeah, let's wrap
it up. A lot
of
things happening at once these days,
Pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.
Yeah. Yeah, not much hope when it comes to the Zoomers taking over the world, huh? Not too much hope for that, is there? Unfortunately.